Hi all, so I'm showing you how to make these wrist warmers. There's going to be 3 videos. This is the child small and medium, this is the adult extra small and small, and then the adult medium and large. I've already filmed these 2, so we're going to be filming this one next. But as you can see, because these hooks remind me which sizes I've done, the only difference between these sizes is the size of the hook. The larger one, so this one, the medium, is done on a 4mm hook. Sorry, the large is done on the 4mm hook, and the medium is done on a 3.5. Okay, so I'm going to film the bigger one, which is with the 4mm hook for you. I'll show you this on me. As you can see, it's really quite big on me, so it's definitely for a larger person. It fits my 14-year-old son with a little bit of room. The smaller one fits him perfect, and this is a bit bigger. And he's taller than me, and it fits Duncan quite well as well. So this is definitely for a larger lady, yeah, a taller lady, or for a bloke. I know there's some ladies out there who are much taller than me. It's not hard really, is it? So this might be a suitable size for you. So we're going to start with a slip knot as usual. So here's our tail end in our working yarn, and then we're going to twist that so that the tail end is above the working yarn. Grab hold of the working yarn and pull it through that hole, and there's our slip knot. Okay, I like to do a chainless start, so I don't do chains very well. They always end up tighter, so I do a chainless start, which means I do the chain and the first row simultaneously, which in this case is single crochet or UK double crochet. So that's what we're going to do. Now we need to have 42 of them, so I'll show you the first few to how I do it, and then I'll just do 42 and then show you how we join in the round after. Okay, so we've got a slip knot. We're going to yarn over and pull through. We're going to do that twice, and we're going to chain 2, and that's as much as a chain we really have to do right now. We're going to go back into that first stitch, yarn over and pull through, then we're going to yarn over and pull through 1, and that creates the chain that you would normally have. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through the 2, and that creates the single crochet or the UK double crochet. That's the second row, or the first proper row after the chain. If you don't want to do this, you can just chain 43 and then do a row of single crochet or UK double crochet before you get into the actual pattern. But do remember, you need to join it in the round as we go. So I'm just going to keep doing these 42. So we're going to go into that chain that we just created. Now that chain stitch, it's a little fiddly on the first one, but you can get through. You've got your normal 2 legs. I'm going to yarn over, go through, and remember we yarn over and go through 1 to create that chain, and then yarn over and go through both of them to create the stitch. So we're just going to do that all the way along until we have 42, and then we will join in the round. So I am going to create the remaining stitches off camera in a minute, and I'll meet you back here once I have 42 stitches to show you how to join. But this is how it's forming now. So we have the bottom chain and the stitches that are the single crochet, and these are the ones we will work in at the end. Okay, so remember, we're just going into that previous chain, grabbing up both legs, yarning over, going through, yarn over and go through and create that chain, to yarn over and go through 2 to create the stitch. So I'll meet you back here when we have 42. Okay, so we've got the 42 stitches here, and obviously we've been working this way up, but our stitches we're working into is actually what's currently on the bottom, so we're going to turn that up. But instead of turning that way, because that would leave your work going, your yarn going underneath, you want to turn it the other way so that your yarn actually sits across the top, and then just tuck that out the way. Then you're going to make sure your piece is straight and just fold it in half, so you can see there's no twist. And then you're going to slip stitch into that first stitch there. And by doing it that way, you're sure there's no twist in your work. Okay? So we're going to do the setup row first, which is basically where we set up to do this pattern we're doing, which is a 5 shell and a single crochet and a 5 shell. Okay, so in the stitch that you're still in, chain 3, and that's going to count as your first double crochet or first UK treble crochet. Let's come in a bit more. Okay. And that's going to be the same on every row you do. Your chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet or UK treble crochet. And then we're going to do 4 more double crochets or UK treble crochets in that same stitch. So that's 4, and then we're going to skip 2 and do a single crochet or a UK double crochet into that stitch. And then we're going to repeat that again, so we're going to skip 2 and we're going to do 5 double crochets into that third stitch. And then we're going to skip 2 and do a single crochet, UK double crochet into that. And that's what we're going to do working around. We're going to do 5 double crochets or UK treble crochets, skipping 2, do a single crochet US, double crochet UK, skip 2 and do the shell again. We'll do that all the way around and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so if you've done it correctly, you'll finish on a single crochet, UK double crochet. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip the 2 remaining ones and we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. And then if you just fold it, you can see we have 7 shells total. We've got 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and this one's folded in half, like that. See? So that's what you want, 7 shells. Now, the way I start my rows, I'd like to have my rows all starting on a single crochet, but rather than going slip stitching across to that one, I just work backwards into that one and slip stitch. So you're slip stitching in to the last single crochet you did, and from there on we will do our next round. And we're going to do that on every round. So now it's time to do the basic 5 shell pattern. And we're going to do that until we have a total of 7 rows. So we're going to do 6 rows. I'll show you how to do the first one, and then I will do off camera the remaining ones, and then you can meet me back there. So we're going to do what we did before. We're going to chain up 3 and we're going to do 4 double crochets, so that's UK treble crochets into that single crochet stitch from below, or double crochet UK. Remember, the chain 3 counts as our first, which is why we'll have 5 when we're done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do a single crochet, UK double crochet, into the third stitch of your shell, so that it sits in the middle of your shell there. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat that process. So we've got the next single crochet here, so we're going to do 5 double crochets, that's UK treble crochets, into that single crochet that we did on the previous round, which of course is double crochet for you UKers. And then do the single crochet or UK double crochet into the top of the third double crochet of the previous round. And we're just going to do this all the way around. So it's a nice simple repeating pattern. You just have to remember to do 5 double crochets or UK treble crochets in the single crochet UK double crochet below, and then your single crochet or UK double crochet into the top of the third stitch of the shell. And that just makes it sit nicely in between. And what it's doing it's nesting each shell in between each other. So it gives a nice neat look and they all stack up nicely. And this is all we're going to do for the next few rounds, so you can meet me back here after you've done 6 rows, so we'll have 7 rows total. I will just finish this one to show you the joining one more time. But it's going to be the same on every round, so it doesn't change. Almost there. Please do use the YouTube's built-in system where you can speed up and slow down videos if you need this changed on the speed. It's a very handy little thing and it saves you having to moan because it's not at the pace you need. The fact is I'm not going to be able to make it at the pace everybody needs, so use the YouTube built-in system to put it at a pace you find more suitable. Okay, so we finished with the single crochet or UK double crochet into the top of that shell, so we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 again, and then we're going to slip stitch backwards into that single crochet that we just did, or UK double crochet, and that's your first round done. So keep going until you have 7 shell rounds, so you're going to do 6 rounds total of the repeating pattern plus the setup row, and I'll meet you back once we've got that done. Okay, so here is our basic 7 rows. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can count them diagonally, whichever way the basic works, but that's the basis there. It's now time to start doing the shaping for the wrist so it goes in slightly. And the way we're going to do that's really simple. Instead of doing 5 stitches in our shell, we're only going to do 3, and we're going to do that for 4 rows. So we're going to go from 7 rows to 11 rows. Okay, so what we're going to do, make sure we're starting in that single crochet we did last on the previous row, and we're going to do like usual, chain 3, and this time we're just going to do 2 double crochets or UK treble crochets into this stitch so that we have 3, and then we're just going to do as normal, so going into that doing a single crochet or UK double crochet into the 3rd stitch of the shell below, and then we're just going to do 3 double crochets in the next single crochet or UK double crochet row, so that we have 3. And we're just going to do that all the way around, so make sure you get into the right stitch. And this is just going to help bring it in slightly without having to do any major stitch count change, because doing the 3 instead of the 5 on the shell naturally brings it in and makes it narrower for you. So I'll just do this first round and show you, and then we can do the other ones off camera and meet you back here when they're done. So it's just 3 double crochets, UK treble crochets, and the single crochet UK double crochet into the shell below, just like we were doing before. So it's only the shell count that is changed, everything else stays the same. So as usual, we're going to finish with that single crochet on top of the chain, on top of the shell. And that's UK double crochet, and we're going to slip stitch into top of the chain 3, just like normal. And that's the first row done of the new stitch pattern. You can see it's already pulling it in, and that's just going to give that little narrowing around your wrist here, because obviously this is wider and then it goes out wider, so it just makes this fit more snugly and not quite so baggy around the wrist. If you like it baggy around the wrist, you can just do the normal 5 shells for these 4 rows instead of the 3 shell, but I prefer it to fit more snugly around your wrist. So I'll meet you back here when I finished doing the 3 shell rows. Remember, we want a total of 11 rows when we're finished, okay? And you can do that by counting the shells along the diagonal either side. Okay, see you back in a minute. Okay, so we've done our 11 rows, which is the 4 rows of the 3 shells and the 6 rows of the 5 shells and the starter row, the setup pattern row. Okay, and as you see, it's brought it in quite nicely, but now it's time to come back out. Now this side is a gradual increase back out. We're just doing the 5 stitches shell, but this side we're increasing for the fun, so we're going to have something slightly different here, which is the first stitch we're going to do, and that's because we're going to put 7 double crochets or treble crochets UK into that first stitch. So as usual, make sure you're in that single crochet and chain 3, and then do 6 double crochets, that's 6 treble crochet UK into this same stitch, and this is going to help with the increase for the thumb. So there's our 7 stitches, and what it's going to do is when we get to this point on the next round, we're actually going to have 2 single crochets and a shell all in this stitch, okay, which I'll show you closer detail when we get there. But for the rest of it, we're just going to work like we have been before. We're going to do 5 stitch shell, so that's 5 double crochets or 5 treble crochets UK into the single crochets UK double crochets, and then the single crochet UK double crochet into the top of the middle stitch for the shell. Okay, so just the same as we were doing before really. I'm going to just do this all the way around until we get back to the beginning again. So remember, we're doing 5 shell, so that's 5 double crochet shell for this round. This is just going to help bring back out, fit around the hand, because obviously we go in at the wrist and then we go back out, so it just helps bring it back out to fit more nice and snug. Now obviously if you want to do this longer on your arm, you can do more of the 5 shell pattern before you do the 3 shell pattern for shaping. So it's pretty simple to adjust to the length that you would like. And if you don't like it going in at the wrist, just do the 5 shells and don't bother doing the 3 shells if you like a more baggier wrist. It does have enough give that it will go over a watch that you're wearing. It fits over my Fitbit just fine. So this is the last single crochet into there, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Get your hook in the right place, that is. It does not want to play ball. There we go. Remember, pop yourself back in that previous one. So now we're going to continue with the 5 shells, but this one we did 7, as I said, is going to be slightly different. So we'll do a 5 shell here, so that's chain 3 and then do 4 double crochets, treble crochet for those UK. So we have a total of 5. Now what we're going to do is into the second stitch of this 7 we're going to do our single crochet, UK double crochet, and then we're going to skip one, and into the 4th we're going to do a 3 shell, so that's 3 double crochets or 3 treble crochets UK into that 4th stitch, and then we're going to skip one again, and into the 6th stitch we're going to do our other single crochet or UK double crochet. And that just sits in, and we've added a shell in then for the increase on the thumb. So we're going to continue the rest doing the 5 shell pattern as before, so nothing else changes on this pattern here. So we'll just work our way around doing 5 double crochets or treble crochet UK, and then single crochet or double crochet UK into the top of the center stitch of the previous rose shell. So there's not too much for you to remember. Once you know the shell pattern, you can pretty much get on with it. If you do have any questions, do pop them down in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. Or if you want to join my YouTube group, you can put a picture up showing me where you're struggling and I can have a look and see where I can help. All my social medias are linked in the About Me section on my YouTube channel, so do check that out, and you can find me in most social media places. So obviously we slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 and then slip stitch back into the previous single crochet, so we know we are. I can just take that out and lay it down. You can see how it's coming out for the thumb now. Now I've just noticed my battery on my camera is going to go, so I'm going to have to take a small break, recharge my battery, and I'll be back. So hopefully for you it should just be a few minutes, well, a few seconds in fact, but I'll see you in a minute. Okay, bye. Right, hey guys, battery has been charged, but unfortunately while charging I've lost daylight, so we're relying on my daylight bulbs, so I'm afraid the lighting is a little different, and you can see we've got a lot more shadowing going on, but hopefully it won't interfere too much with me showing you what we're doing. So we'll get straight back to it. So we're on the next round of 5 shells, but we're going to just finish it off over this thumb to put back to the original pattern now, because obviously at the moment we still have our 3 shell one here, which will eventually go back to a 5 shell. So make sure you're in that single crochet from the end of the last round. We're just going to do as usual, chain 3 and do 4 double crochets, 4 treble crochets UK into this stitch. And then do the usual single crochet, UK double crochet in top of the middle of the previous shell. Now this is where you got to be careful not to miss any, because obviously we've tucked in single crochet here and here on the shell along with that, so you want to make sure you get to that single crochet so that you can do your next 5 shell in there. and then we're going to do as usual your single crochet into the top of the middle shell there, and then over here find that other single crochet that's caught in there, that's double crochet UK turns obviously, and you're going to do your 5-stitch shell in there. And after that we're back to doing the normal 5-stitch shell all the way around. So just do this to completely around, and then we've got some more straight rows finishing off before we section off for the thumb to create the thumb hole. Hope the new lighting and shadowing isn't too much of an issue for you. Really sorry about that. Unfortunately I have a meet the maker in the shop in town tomorrow, so I won't have time to finish the filming tomorrow. I have to finish it today. Of course I would have probably already done the meet the maker by the time you see this. Don't forget, each one of these videos I've done will have an accompanying written pattern for you to follow along with. You'll find that written pattern on my blog, which I will link down below, straight to the correct size pattern for you so that you know which one you're working with. That's just finished with that round. Make sure you get back into that single crochet, so you can really see the thumb is taking shape quite nicely here. That's the last of any kind of increases we're going to do. We're just going to work in the 5-stitch shell pattern all the way around. Currently we are on, let me double check, we're on row 14, we've just finished row 14, so row 15 to 20 will be this normal 5 shell stitch pattern, so the same as we did here. So I'll meet you back here when we've got 20 rows total complete, bottom to the top, 20 rows. Okay, so see you back in a minute. Hi guys, so we now have 20 rows done. You can see the thumb area is coming out quite nicely, so it's now time to do this skip row, which is where we create the actual thumb hole. So we're going to skip some stitches and shells to create the nice thumb. So it's still following the 5 shell pattern. We're just going to skip a certain section when we get around here, which I will show you when we get around there. So let's just make sure you're in the single crochet from before and do your normal shell that you would do. So we're doing chain 3 and then 4 double crochets, or 4 treble crochets for UK. And then your normal single crochet or UK double crochet. We're just following the pattern around for the minute. I will tell you how many you'll need for when you skip in just a second. So if you hear any pitter-patters, there's a cat on my roof at the moment. almost round where we need to skip now. So what you're going to do is, to work out where you need to skip, find where you've done your 7 and then you have your 3, and that's where we're going to want to fold it down so that it fits half and half. So half of the 7's this side and half that way, so it's 3 3 with 1 at the top, 1 in the middle rather. And as you see, ooh, I don't know if you can see, but I actually have a spider coming down my camera. I'm just going to pause so I can get rid of it. Sorry about that, the spider is now gone. I don't know what he's doing in here, he belongs outside. But, okay, so, as I was saying, we're doing this fold and you can see we have a shell here and a shell here. And then we've got the single crochet in here. That's what we're going to be skipping, these 2 shells and that single crochet that's in the middle. So, I'll just pop back in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, do my 5th one. So we're going to skip that shell and we're going to skip that single crochet or double crochet UK and skip that shell, and we're actually going to come around to this single crochet, double crochet UK. So in order to reach across there, you want to just chain 1 and then just do your normal 5 shell stitch into there. Try and make sure that you don't do your stitch extra long, so keep your tension pretty well, because it will stretch over on its own. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our shell, our chain 1 and our shell. That chain 1, we will work around that to put a shell in on the next round, but here is our shell, our single crochet and our shell for our thumb hole. So we just continue the pattern along there to finish the row. So do our last single crochet or double crochet for UK and slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. And then slip stitch back into that single crochet. Okay, so now, as you can see, obviously these are a bit big for me, but we now have our thumb hole with that there. So we're just going to follow the same pattern, doing the 5 stitch shell and the single crochets around. And remember, when we get to that chain 1, we're going to do a shell over that. Okay, so just follow the pattern as normal. So that's chain 3 and then 4 double crochets or 4 treble crochets to start with, because the chain 3 counts as our 5th, remember. And we're almost finished. Bet you'll be pleased to know that. You just have to repeat it all again for your second one. So if you can hear the vehicle noise, it's now home time for most business people, so it's getting a little noisier out there. I think we managed to avoid all of the helicopters and airplanes going over us while they were going over during the breaks I think, so hopefully that hasn't interfered too much. Okay, so we're at that single crochet, so we're just going to do a shell in that gap. So we go around that bit. Just do your normal 5 double crochets or 5 treble crochets for UK. Almost finished. I've only got a couple more rows to go once I finish this one. Okay, so that's where we're at the moment, and what we're going to do is we're just going to finish off. So this is the shell we did over that chain, so we're now going to do 2 more rows, so shells either side of that one and then another one just above it, so 2 more rows and we're done. But it's just following in the 5 shell pattern, so you don't need to see me do that, so I'll meet you back here when I've done those 2 rows. Okay, so we've done all of the rows, which is a total of 24 rows. So as you can see, we have our shell from jumping over, the 2 either side of it, and then another one that nestles above it. So that's done. So we've just got to finish off now. So all we're going to do is we've slip stitched into the top of the chain 3, and we're just going to yarn over and pull through like you do in a chain 1. But snip yarn, leave a good tail so that you can weave in. Always leave a really good tail. It's better to have too much than too little. Then just pull that through and give it a really good pull so it's nice and tight and snug in there. Grab your yarn needle. I have one with a squishy eye because I prefer these ones, but any one will do. Thread it through. Now you want to weave in from the inside, so just bend it out a little so that you can get to the inside. And you want to go down through the stitches and through the yarn, so split the yarn a little when you go through. It just helps hold it in that little bit tighter. You want to go in several different ways, up and down, sideways, backwards and forwards. You know, you just really want to make sure that that yarn isn't going to come out and stick out at the end, because that will look rather unsightly. Don't pull too tight. You want it in there snug, but you don't want to bunch up this. You still want the give in it. But by going backwards and forwards and in and out like this, you can ensure that the end should stay well and truly hidden as you go through. Okay, so then just snip your end. Line that up there. So that's that one done. We're going to do the bottom one. Now remember, because we did 2 rows simultaneously at the beginning, you've got that little gap there. You want to just go into that first stitch and knot it up so that that joins that round so it becomes straight. And then as usual, work into the back, weaving in your stitch, in and out, making sure you go multiple different directions and you split the yarn so that it stays nice and secure. And the more directions and the more you sew, the more secure your piece will be. But always make sure that you stay in the back. So it might look like I'm going all through, but I'm not going into these part of the stitches. It's only over the back part, so I'm splitting that yarn. But that is that one finished. So there we go, that is the large pair of wrist warmers done. And remember, if you want them slightly smaller, do it in the 3.5mm, which makes them just that little bit smaller if I line them all up. You see the slight change in size. So I hope you enjoy that. Remember, there are 2 other videos that has, again, 2 different sizes per video, just the same pattern using either 4mm or 3.5mm hook. But I hope that's been helpful. Any questions, pop them down in the comments below. Please do share your work in the YouTube group. I love to see everything you do. It doesn't have to be my patterns, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be crochet, any kind of craft. I love them all. So I will see you all soon, so you take care. Bye.